This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
This is the Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. I'm Ken, and with me today are Cody and Kyle.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Friday.
I know. It's like exciting to be done at the end of this week. But it's also Easter weekend, so it's, should I say Happy Good Friday? How does that work?
No.
No?
You just acknowledge that it is Good Friday and then move on.
Okay.
Tip the cap to Good Friday.
Yeah. Tip of the cap to you.
To those
Good
who
Friday.
celebrate the holidays,
Yeah.
enjoy the holidays.
And then it's Easter weekend this weekend, so I hope everybody has good weather. We have had such bad weather here that I'm looking at an Easter egg hunt in the snow.
As it should be.
As
Montana's the best.
Most years are. Although we had one glorious April a couple of years ago where you had the best Easter egg hunt.
In shorts.
Yeah. Like it was just so beautiful that day. And it was probably the only time we really got to do the eggs in the yard like properly. So.
Oh, yeah. Dad was making cocktails. It was awesome.
It was a good one.
The way it's supposed to be celebrated.
It's all been in snow since, so.
But the cocktails will still come out, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
It
the shorts?
It depends on how many cocktails I have.
Right.
That also depends. It makes the length of the short shorter. The more cocktails I have, how much thigh I'm willing to show off.
Just slowly inches up.
Yeah, as soon as I see the white part of his leg, I'm like, oh, you're cut off.
It has to tan at some point.
That's true. But
Trying to help you out, Ken.
I like a little mystery.
All right. Well, on that note, how about we talk about this Easter weekend's booking strategies? How are things looking so far?
Good. I think that Fantastic Beasts had a pretty strong Thursday early show showing. I do believe it's going to probably be front loaded with fans, although we'll get into our review later. It was not, for me, as disappointing as I thought it was going to be, and so I do think it will hold up and be fine. So,
okay.
But for families that don't want to see something kind of like more dark and ominous, I still think Sonic is going to be huge this weekend. So wouldn't want anybody taking away shows from Sonic.
You don't think Sonic's gonna drop off a cliff like a certain Morbius did?
No, I don't. I think Sonic is going to be even better. So.
Even better.
I mean, not opening. Sorry, I just meant like their drop off is going to be even better.
It's going to be more normal.
Yeah.
Closer to that 50 to 60% range.
I would be surprised if it was like 48, 50. Like
Yeah.
that's the percent that I'm expecting.
Yeah. I mean,
a normal drop off, but even if I could see a little lower, like 45%, because of the
it's
holiday.
the only PG film we have
right now.
Yeah.
So I could see it being even less.
I mean, when was the last time we saw a 45% drop for like a big release on week 2? I think everyone would be ecstatic over that.
Yeah. No, it's
not since Spider-Man. Like not since that
Well,
Christmas.
Even wasn't that one even like 50% probably?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
but they did $250 million week 1. You can't do 50% is $125 million, which makes it the first and second biggest openings
of 2021. Yeah. All right. What about Father's 2? How's that been looking?
I think it's going to be strong in some markets, but it is a rated R faith-based title, which
there's not a lot of history on those.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive to have a faith title that's R, but it is R for language. It's what I like to call like a naughty R, but
Soft
not
R.
a soft R. Just it's more like naughty language than it is like anything really bad in it.
More than one F-bomb, perhaps.
Yeah, there's a lot
Possibly.
of F-bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them in the first part I hear.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But besides that, it's still a really good story, and I think it still has a good, strong cast.
And you forget because he does it so rarely that Mark Wahlberg can act.
Yeah.
So, like he's an actor for a living. He doesn't just run around away from fake robots. Like he actually knows how to put his face to the screen.
It always does
emote.
become a surprise when you see him act well, right? All of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, Marky Mark can act.
Yeah. He's got this.
Yeah. Good for him.
So I think it's going to be strong, especially in the like areas we picked. You know, obviously we tried to only place it in places that we thought it would do well. It's not going to blow open the doors on any major grosses this weekend, I don't believe.
But 7 to 10 million is what's expected for.
And I think that's really good because it's not
better than Morbius.
It's not 3,000 plus prints, so
Yeah.
I mean that means that it's going to have a stronger per screen average, and that's what we want.
Yeah, 2,500 prints roughly is what we're seeing.
Yeah,
but it's just such a hard title to pigeonhole. I mean, we only have one of these that's succeeded, an R-rated faith-based title, which was Passion of the Christ.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, that's the beginning and middle and end of these films that have made $20 million, which isn't a lot.
Right.
I mean, there are some on the peripheries, but those are like $3-4 million films that we've seen
from Mel Gibson. Funny enough.
Yeah. I know. He's in this one. He'll have the 2 biggest R-rated faith-based titles of all time.
Not many people can say that.
Was The Nun from WB the horror film rated R? Maybe that counts.
The faith-based angle might not be Easter friendly, I suppose, but sure.
Oh, okay. You're right.
So yeah, and then we've got Ambulance probably in its second and last week in most theaters.
Oh, such a shame.
Yeah, that really, really underperformed. Like, I knew it was going to be soft because I questioned who really the audience was for and what interest. Like, for me, it just didn't have, there was nothing in the story that seemed interesting other than it's an ambulance car chase movie.
It sure is.
And it just seems too simple of a premise to, I don't know, to sell a lot of people. I guess people just weren't interested. So I don't see that one surviving too much past the second and third week.
Yeah, sadly, you're right.
Yep. And then going wide this week, we have Everything, All the Time, Somewhere, Sometime, All at Once.
Now that was having really good per screen average and very good word of mouth going into this weekend. It's probably widest footprint this weekend because you're running out of time to get it in before Doctor Strange and some of these other titles. So we're going to lose screen availability if you don't get it in soon. But I'm a little concerned. Some of the locations that opened it last week on a wider footprint underperformed. And so I think this is another title that just isn't going to have mass appeal. While it's like very stylized and cool and it's gathering a lot of interesting like word of mouth, I don't feel like it's commercially very wide, you know, so like they really could play it very wide commercially.
The word of mouth will definitely dictate whether it reaches to a wide scale, I think, especially because this is coming out in the most locations possible, probably.
Yeah.
So I'll be very curious to see if whether it just continues staying at a plateau of that 6 million that it made last weekend. I think it was 6 million, right? Which is still pretty impressive given that it was on a more limited release. I mean, Ambulance made 8.5 million on a wider release, so
like 3 times as many screens.
Oh, the fact that it's an A24 film that's not horror.
Yeah.
That's a shock.
Yeah.
It's multiverse, which general audiences now like, I guess.
Apparently that's
we're just
going to
shove it
That's
down
the
their
new
throats.
thing.
We're gonna give them so much multiverse,
We're gonna
even
have-
in non-Marvel films.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I was always wondering what the next thing was going to be. For a while there, it was like vampires, and it was like young adult dystopian things.
Westerns tried to take off for a little
Western,
bit.
Yeah.
Again,
Who thought multiverse would be a concept that would be like, let's add this to everything?
that's not even a genre. That's just a shtick in a comic book.
it is now. Who thought it would be? That was it. I mean,
That's what's more shocking to me.
cross-dressing was more likely to take off as a genre
Yeah.
than multiverse.
There's so much multiverse stuff out there, and we were watching something, maybe it was Morbius, and there was just Doctor Strange in the multiverse, and then there was the Spider-Man
Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, there's
part
another one.
and
Yeah.
it was just so much of it, and then this Everything Everywhere. It was like this is getting overdone. Like I'm getting overwhelmed now with what universe I'm supposed to be in and what events are supposed to be partaking in this point in this time with these characters. It's just
Not to mention The Flash next year. It's gonna do that too. So
You know what they aren't overdoing right now?
what?
Next weekend's variety of releases.
Yes, that is
we have
true.
something for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of excited about next weekend. We've got Bad Guys for another kids movie, which we desperately need to market. Like
we haven't had 2 together in theaters, I don't think this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they spaced them out pretty well.
Because it
all
was
things
like
considered.
Tom and Jerry, and then we had Spirit Untamed, and they were really
Crudes
spread apart.
2.
Crudes 2, yeah. So this is the first time we're going to have 2 like relatively new PG releases
And
together.
they're going to be, and they look good. You know, I still think that Sonic is going to be the better of the 2 films, like the stronger of the 2.
Yeah.
But I can see Bad Guys just having legs, you know, and just playing matinees clear through the summer. Because it's just, same with Sonic. It's just when there's nothing else after these 2 films for a really long time until Lightyear. And there's some controversy around Lightyear. I don't really see another big kids movie till Minions. Minions is going to be huge.
Oh, and
well,
Lightyear's
never mind.
Disney, so there's no flexibility with a lot of those bookings.
No.
But Paramount, Universal, once we get to a certain
Want to
point,
hear a hot take? I think Minions will be bigger than Lightyear.
I said this in the office. I think Minions is going to be the #1 movie of the year.
It could be.
I like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's right here.
I
don't know what side to
it's so
choose.
crazy, Kyle. If you didn't go to Sonic with a bunch of little kids, but when that Minions trailer came on, the energy in the room changed.
It's like a rock concert.
Like-
yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, people were bored by the Lightyear trailer. Although, as an adult, I think it looks great. Like
You were the only one yelling, "Where's Tim Allen?"
That was me. It was like the scene on the Elvis trailer where all the girls go crazy, except everyone under 10 went nuts.
And then all the parents were like looking at him like, "What is this? What is happening?"
It just exploded. It was crazy.
I mean, it's very rare that a film evokes that anymore in our culture, that a film evokes that much excitement, even when you're at the movies now. And
For younger ages,
and
yeah.
now for younger ages to be like, Minions! It's
Right,
just,
The Minions, you saw the kids freak out, and then it was, sit down, shut up,
yeah. Calm down.
Keep
Don't
it
spill
down.
anything.
don't hit your brother. That was me also.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I missed that one then. But I believe you guys, though, about how epic it was.
Yeah. No, there's actually both of these other films I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Or the coming weekend.
Yeah. So next week is Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a Nick Cage playing Nick Cage in a very fun rated R comedy. Like,
Yeah. A fictional, over-the-top version of Nick Cage, if I can say that even.
Right.
But that's what it appears to be.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my
trailer's awesome. It has a lot of jokes.
Even the newest trailer that we watched when we went to Fantastic Beasts was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's nothing in this I do not like right now. I
Yeah.
am loving this movie. Like, every line was so funny in it.
And then if you're looking for something that's completely the opposite of that, where it's not going to be funny, but it's going to be visually stunning and put together and
gory and
violent,
So
and
violent,
gory.
sweaty.
Yeah.
the Northman, which I'm very excited about actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did hear the last scene. There's a little bit of exposure in the final
Male exposure. We should just
the final
clarify.
battle of the
Okay.
film
Male bodily exposure.
Okay.
to molten elements.
Connect those pieces if you want.
So
The
just
volcano wieners.
Be aware there's volcano wieners in this movie. You heard it here first.
The most PG version, or the most PG expression that we could describe for this movie. But it's definitely going to be for a specific crowd, I guess, who wants volcanic wieners. I forgot what we just said.
I don't know if anybody goes into it wanting that. I think by the end of the movie, it's the culmination of everything that needs to happen.
I'm not going to
Sure.
say no.
Yeah, like we shouldn't dismiss volcanic wieners outright right now.
We
just by
haven't
saying
seen
that.
it
No,
just
no.
yet, so
Yeah.
you don't know. It could work.
It could work.
Maybe
it just might
will
work.
be the shtick that takes over the new thing.
Multiverse and volcano wieners.
I think I know what my choice would be.
A multiverse full of volcano wieners.
Just battles all over.
But you guys are certainly right. Like, it does feel like there's a piece of the pie for almost every demographic.
And then the
Plus,
PG
we've got really strong holdovers. Like
the PG-13
you know,
crowd with
Fantastic Beasts will be extremely strong
Sonic,
holdover.
Morbius
Sonic.
could still get shows in
Yeah.
bigger complexes.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of room. I mean,
Lost
there's
City
literally
could probably still be.
yeah, there's literally a
Yeah.
film for everybody for the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
The first time we have something that covers all of our bases.
This month has been awesome.
Yeah.
You know what's nice is that there's a film for everybody. But what we just list off, like 6 films.
Yeah.
It's not endless menus of algorithmic movies or like this is all garbage. I think it's so refreshing to go in the theater, have like 6 or 7 choices, and be like, that one looks good. That time looks good. Like it just
Well, just that
simplifies
idea.
your world.
Like I remember growing up and we would go to the movies not knowing what we were going to see.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, the movie starts at 7. What movie? We'll figure it out when we get there. And
We'll see what looks good.
yeah, we'll see what looks good.
Yeah.
And we could be returning to some of that with that event cinema.
I want movie theaters to really survive this and adapt, because I really think that as you get overwhelmed with the options on streaming, people are always going to want to seek out convenience, and the most convenient option will be theaters. I know you have to get in your car, but it gets you out of the house. There's only a couple options to see stuff. It's always quality, because we wouldn't be put in a theater if there wasn't quality there. Even Ambulance was a quality movie, even if it didn't strike a chord with people. There was nothing really bad in it. It had great acting. It had great visual effects.
Yeah, great visual effects, camera work.
Yeah.
For the most part, but yeah,
I mean, it felt like a theatrical film.
it certainly did.
And I don't think anybody going, if they hadn't seen like a Rotten Tomato score or anything like that, if you just put all that stuff aside, I think you can go and have your expectations lowered enough that you can enjoy things. And so I really do think that's kind of the magic of a theater, of the theatrical experience.
Well, I had very, very low expectations for our field trip yesterday, the 3 of us to go
Guys,
see.
Kyle went with us to the movie. He didn't have an excuse that like, oh, I got to see this with my friends. No, he went with us. It was awesome.
I tried to make an excuse, but they caught me in my
And then
scheme.
we almost stood him up because we went and got drinks beforehand and we forgot what time it was. And I invited Kyle to drinks, but he is so responsible. He's like, no, I'll finish up a few things. And here I am, 2 drink cocktails in, being like, what time is it?
I feel like we're forgetting something. What could it be?
Meh. Okay, well, you guys set the bar very low for me
Yeah.
Okay.
because of how much the 2 of you
I was going to say,
disliked
this is
the
going to
second
be
one.
an interesting conversation because Kyle and I felt that the second one was just a really bad trajectory of like where it was going downhill.
Did we say the movie?
Oh, Fantastic Beasts 3.
Yes. Okay.
Secrets of Dumbledore. That's the one we're talking about now. And the Fantastic Beasts Crimes of Grindelwald, which was the second one, was just convoluted. The story was all over the place. It was just, the screenplay was so poorly done.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with the quality of the filmmaking or the acting. It was all in the screenplay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've really trounced on that one. And so Ken, who has never seen, I don't think, any of the Fantastic Beasts, had coming into the third one, did have super low expectations because we're like, don't ruin this for us. This is garbage film. This could be very garbage from the last one. So Ken, as the I want to say the virgin newbie to it, the greenhorn, what did you think of that? What were your thoughts? Like, dislike, what?
It was Dumbledore-boring.
Womp womp
It
womp.
was boring.
No,
Okay.
I haven't been able to really connect with the film since getting back to theaters when it's really struck a chord with me. I mean, it had all of the visual effects were there. There wasn't anything that was shoddy. Maybe a little bit at the beginning where it looked a little silvery with the first creature.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It looked like little green
Like a little
screeny.
muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked a little strange. But other than that, the visual effects were good. The actors were good, except for...
I know you don't like Eddie Redmayne.
Oh, my gosh.
He was goofier in this one this time. I thought he was fine, but
He looks
I kind of get
He
it.
looks like he has saran wrap over his face all the time. And
It's
they just got a
method
hole
acting.
for him to talk through. I mean, him and Paul Dano together would be
He
one
does
hell of
have
a
this
Riddler.
Look like
Victim
he's a little
combination.
concerned and lost all the time, like staring into the void.
and maybe that's why he got the role. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, no love loss for him. I mean, Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen were showing off.
They're
Yeah.
so good. That I will say that the Mads Mikkelsen swap in for Johnny Depp vastly improved that character so
It
much.
makes way more sense,
It does.
too.
But the first scene,
Visually, it makes way more
Visually.
sense.
the first scene with those two together, they were acting their asses off.
You could tell who the veterans were of the cast.
And then they didn't really get together. Like, they weren't in scenes together until that last fight,
Yeah.
which was interesting that they kept them at arm's length.
I like
More
that,
so.
though.
I have thoughts about that, too, but it expands further.
No,
Keep going.
It was just, I like that it was in the Harry Potter universe, but it was just so far removed that it was hard for me to get really into the creatures. I assumed they only had like unicorns and dragons because that's the only thing.
And big spiders.
Yeah, big spiders, all this shit, the things they pull out of the ground when they scream.
Oh, yeah.
I figured they had those. No, all of a sudden it's miniature horse dog thing.
Yeah.
Bambi dragon.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I
doesn't-
call them.
But it doesn't breathe fire. I don't know. There was a lot of exposition that I needed to get through to that point. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was sit through. I only nodded off once, so that's pretty decent.
Giving it good marks from Ken.
Yeah,
there.
I mean-
with no explosions, what can you
Tell me about it. That's
expect?
pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah, but at least it had the humor. Like, you have to. Any of these blockbuster films cannot be self-serious through the whole thing.
You need the Jacob Kowalski character. He is by far the best character in the whole thing. He's the one that audiences can attach themselves to, and he's that regular person in a magical world that you as the audience can experience the world through.
Yeah, Dan Fogler is great as that character,
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah, to talk about a guy that was so glad they're coming back for a third Fantastic Beasts. He was the only one that was excited.
He's like, hey, I get to get another car. Sign me up.
He's just fallen off a cliff. Like, he had his moment and it's gone.
Right.
But they're like, hey, we're going to make a third one. It's like, oh, thank God, I've been praying for this
yeah.
every day since we wrapped the last one.
I mean, the dude is 4th on the billing sheet. I'm sure he could have been like 12th, and he'd be like, I'm just happy to be here. Yeah,
I'm just excited to be here.
just sign me up.
All right. So,
let's go with Kyle
yeah.
next. Kyle, overall, what did you think of the film?
It is a step up from the last movie. It's definitely not as convoluted of a script as the previous one was. It's much more smoother. But I do side with Ken on this one.
Boring.
Yeah, because the entire time I'm seeing these characters tell me that their mission is very serious, but never once do I get the sense that it is a serious threat. If anything, it felt like a bridge between two movies, which is fine as long as there's, still conflict that needs to be resolved. And I just didn't really get that sense that there's a conflict that I needed to be concerned about in this movie. And I agree with Ken, too, that Grindelwald and Dumbledore are, really fun to watch, but they're way too far separated. They should have found a way to get those two actors to work more closely together. And plus, their relationship was... It was a little bit discreet on who they were in a past life, but it still was the most interesting part of the movie to me. But the same goes for all the rest of the characters. I mean, Newt and Jacob were some of the best parts of them teaming up together in the first movie. They're not working together at all. They say hi and then they split off with other random characters that I don't care about. And even Dumbledore and Newt, too, they have one scene together, but then they split apart as well. So they just didn't utilize characters well. They didn't give me the most entertaining conflict, and very exposition-y to the point where it just made me almost sleepy and just had me checked out, especially at the climax where it was supposed to be the cool part, but it just wasn't. And I was bummed out by that.
Let's hear it, Cody.
I liked it the most out of the three of us.
Okay.
I will say before I get into what I really liked about it, that there were a couple things I didn't like. One was they killed a mother beast that had just given birth in like the first 5 minutes. And I don't know if my rule of not killing like children or babies or any like that or pregnant people in the first part of a movie translates to magical beasts, but I still felt the weight of all that.
So the answer is yes, it does.
and then they killed a baby creature, and I didn't like that.
Kind of.
Kind of. it was dead, and I didn't like that part either.
Well, in that scene, it was definitely dead.
It was very dead, Kyle.
Oh, that part is so dumb to me, and it probably goes into spoiler territory, so I'll just move past it.
Yeah.
Similar to like Cruella. Everybody's like, "Oh, that was great," and it's like in the very next day she starts drowning dogs for a coat. But they showed that part. They showed Mads Mikkelsen drowning Dalmatians.
Yeah. And I do get what you mean now. It didn't give you anxiety in the conflict. There was no anxiety inducement in the conflict that they were trying to create.
Yeah.
Okay, what I did love about it. It felt like a movie that cleaned up all of the mess that was the last movie so much. I feel like, I know that they're crediting J.K. Rowling, but I don't feel like she had as much involvement with the script. The dialogue was 100 times better.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything, the points in the plot all made sense, like as a cohesive story moving forward. Like even though in this one they had to tie up a bunch of stuff, it felt like they reworked the whole plan for the 5 movies, and because I don't know if they're going to be guaranteed 5 movies anymore.
They're putting the other 2 on hold. I think they want to see the results of this one. Yeah.
So if this one
If I'm Dan Fogler,
has to be the end, I feel like they gave it a good ending. Like, you could end on this movie.
I felt that too.
So they definitely had a plan of that, moving that forward. So I do very much like that got wrapped up clean. And I just feel that like they didn't let J.K. Rowling anywhere near the script, and they just said based on the script of J.K. Rowling, and they took her script and threw it away, and then they redid it. So that was very, very nice.
Right.
So I did very much appreciate that. I like how they wrapped up and cleaned up the Credence story in it, although it was just kind of sad, but it added so much depth to other characters in the story that may have been overlooked.
Okay.
In other parts of and tied it in with Harry Potter stuff more down the road, which I liked those elements. I liked that depth. I liked all the creatures that they had in it, even the big scary one that killed a bunch of people and threw them up for its babies. I think there was a lot of humor in it.
Hey, but it fed the babies. That's nice.
It made me feel really good.
Yeah.
I did not mind
that. Made you
part.
feel really good.
I was like, yeah, get those bad
something
guys.
That was driving me crazy during this.
What?
Okay. At the end, the wizards have a very strong swing. The total group of wizards have a very strong swing of opinions.
Yeah.
One direction
Yep.
and then the other. And it just made me think like, okay, well, wizards are like wrestling fans. It's whoever.
Yeah.
Somebody pins somebody, and then somebody pins somebody else. And they're like, go red team, go blue team. It didn't have any, it didn't make any sense, that part.
No.
Really?
People
that
have
did
opinions.
Make sense to you?
No.
If in your... I feel like we can't really debate this until next week. We should pick this part of the conversation up next week so we're not spoiling it too much. But I think
either like Mads Mikkelsen or you like Jude Law.
You like the good guy or the bad guy?
Mads Mikkelsen drowned a bunch of Dalmatians. If you're already voting for Mads Mikkelsen, you're going to stay with Mads Mikkelsen.
I get it.
It's the day of the election. You're not switching back and forth.
We'll talk about that part later.
If
there are elements that especially in your identity as a wizard, your heritage as a wizard, that tells you to change.
I'm a Mads man.
Boy, you found more in that script than I did. Would have been nice if they talked about those things.
They did.
I don't know about that.
Okay, what else
You
did I really
voting
like
for
about
Jude
it?
Law and Justice?
I loved how they... I feel like this is a bit of a spoiler, but I loved how they got the Jacob Queenie situation fixed, because that was the biggest part I hated about the last movie, was that she abandoned him and stuff. And I'm only okay if she abandoned him as like a double-crossing secret mole agent that's in there just to glean the information from the enemy and made a sacrifice because she always knew she was coming back. I don't feel like they made that into the story, but I'm okay. the results are still kind of there for me.
They definitely retconned her decisions.
Yes.
Like right away in the beginning, you could tell she's like, "Oh, I'm with the bad guy. Why am I here?" And then it's not until like the very end where she's like, "I made a mistake. Let me come back." And I think there could have been something a little bit more in like the middle there, but it worked out fine. I was fine with it.
This was a let's right the ship. Let's not get too bogged down in details. Let's just get the ship righted. And
yeah, which sadly they had to do for that last movie.
I know. I really appreciate the writing of the ship. I was kind of glad that Tina's character was not in this very much because I found her character annoying the last couple times. Just didn't do anything for me and kind of annoying. So I found it refreshing she wasn't in it. I know she'll be back, but
yeah, I mean, I found no stance on that. It was a character that was always fine to me, but something about it was funny to me. I don't know why. Like, it felt like it wasn't supposed to. It felt like the movie probably was supposed to have her in it, but something happened.
Right. They're like, no, we got to really correct these other things, and there's just no screen time for you. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's
Yeah, and a bunch of other characters from the last movie are just gone too.
are just gone too.
But
Yeah.
Which is good.
But they kept Ezra Miller in it, and then he
He was such a big part.
He went crazy right before the film came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to affect his Flash film more than it would affect this film, I think.
Yeah, but I wonder if the decisions with his character were because they knew that he had issues.
They're like,
Off screen.
we've seen this before. Johnny
his
Depp.
erratic,
Yeah.
and Ezra Miller's erratic behavior has come up before.
Yes.
Like, this is not, he's a weird dude. And so this is not something that's like, oh,
Tell us how you really feel.
no, he is a weird dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's a brilliant actor, and
Yes, he is very good.
very captivating on screen. I feel bad because his Credence character is it's such a tragedy. That is such a tragic story. It gives it some depth. And
It probably could have been if handled a bit better. Because anyway, you can keep going.
yeah. Well, I can't go into
Papa, can you hear me?
get into it without too many spoilers.
That is a good hint, though,
Yeah.
I guess.
So, but I'm glad I had low expectations. I may have had too high of expectations for the last film, and so lower expectations here were good. I don't feel like this film ruined this budding franchise the way that the third Star Wars film ruined the whole
Rise of Skywalker.
ruined
sure.
it. Just kept on the ruining train on that.
I just hope that more people are on your side of the fence, and this revitalizes this franchise's chances.
I think it fixed it. I don't think it gave it too much new energy, but I think it fixed what was there, and I think they can make 2 more films, and if they keep the course correction, I think they can build big time. And I would be okay with just 1 more film. Like,
Oh yeah, there's no reason for there to be 5.
there doesn't need to be 5. Like, 1 more big film where you really get Dumbledore and Grindelwald having their final blowout. But the way they ended it, Grindelwald's like down for the count. Dumbledore's on high. Everything looks like it's all the same. So you almost need 1 more movie to kind of be like the rise of Grindelwald, like Empire Strikes Back, and then the return of Dumbledore.
So then you get 5 movies.
You do get 5 movies. I know you don't really. They didn't need to do 5 movies. They should have just had 3. But they
just walked yourself
overly
into a
planned.
corner before?
No, they just needed 3, but they overly planned and they did 2 kind of bad ones. So there's 2 extras in there that can totally be cut.
Kyle and I just watched you walk around in a circle and go,
Yeah.
I think I've been here before.
No,
That's why I kind of
Well-
repeated that. I was like, did I hear that right?
Yes, I think they can get away with a 4th one. Although now that we're in this path and this is the starting point, we need 5 to finish out the story. But if I had gone back from the very beginning and looked at it, this story could have been told in 3.
Probably.
Never needed to be 5. But here we are at 5.
So say this movie was better than Morbius, but it was way
So
longer.
much better than Morbius.
So I have them neck and neck.
You have neck and neck. So much better than Morbius.
Morbius was 90 minutes. Get me in and get me out.
That was that. Tough.
Yeah, but Morbius is
Muy bueno.
so cringy.
If you're going to be bad, be 90 minutes. if you're going to be...
I did not feel like
Yeah.
this was too long.
Oh my gosh, it lasted forever.
Okay, they could have cut the whole end scene after the big fight events. The whole later end scene could have been an end credit scene. It didn't need to be part of the movie, and then that would have shorted up a little bit.
That could have been the start of your fourth movie.
Yeah, it really could have been the start of the
It's a
fourth
fine
movie.
ending, but it
That's where I felt like, oh, we're still going at this. This is still going on.
yeah.
I didn't need to. It was a happy ending for me when I thought it should have ended.
Well, speaking of fourth movies, with Sonic they released the trailer for the fourth Kung Fu Panda. It's named Paws of Fury. It's not by the same studio, and it has no pandas in it.
but it is an animal kung fu movie.
Where the animal is no good at kung fu to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same movie.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any magical talent. Like he's not going to come into his own as a panda like that.
He's a dog. He's never going to be a panda.
You're right.
How about we say what the name of the movie
Oh,
is
yeah,
first?
sorry.
Paws of Fury. It dropped its first trailer sometime last weekend,
That's
and
why we
I was
keep you
also
around,
thinking
Kyle.
about Kung Fu Panda.
No.
Looks like a cute movie, but I was thinking about Kung Fu Panda because that's what I grew up with.
I love Samuel L. Jackson's voice, but for some reason, it didn't fit.
It does not fit.
Nope.
No.
And weirdly enough, neither does Michael Cera's.
See, I disagree with that. I thought it was fine.
Yeah?
I thought, I don't mind his voice with
Really?
like the little wimpy dog. It was great.
Okay.
I mean, the DC Super Pets more throws me off when all of a sudden Kevin Hart is a bigger dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
His voice freaks me out when
Yeah.
it's coming out of...
We
I
saw
thought
that
that
trailer in front of Fantastic Beasts,
Yeah,
and
but-
even I was like, oh man, I don't know.
They picked the bad DC Super Pets trailer.
Yeah.
They did not program that very well. There's not a great trailer. There's the one where it has Batman and the dog character kind of like coming together, but that one looks kind of dumb. I just like the whole one where they focus on Superman's dog and then how the other animal shelter pets get superpowers.
Right.
I like that
The main
trailer.
one,
That's
yeah.
the
Kevin
good
Hart's
trailer.
animated. He's a rabbit. I'm sorry.
He's got to say the rabbit. Yeah, I do find it weird because Kevin Hart has been in like an animated animals movie with dogs, but he wasn't a dog, and so now when he's a dog, it freaks me out. I'm like, you're supposed to be a rabbit.
You got a
or
rabbit
something else.
voice.
I think everyone else will be okay with that. But anyway, Paws of Fury. We think it's a better trailer than the other superheroes, DC superheroes one.
I definitely think DC Super Pets is gonna be much better than Paws of Fury.
Animation is stylized, but not really in a great way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that's what I thought too.
Like Bad Guys is stylized in a great way.
right. Like they had it's stylized with texture.
And this seems like stylized because Bad Guys was stylized.
Or
Like we have to keep up with the Joneses here.
Right,
But we
yeah.
don't have the same artists. We don't have the same directors. We
right.
don't have the same
We're
anybody.
not the same level yet.
yeah.
No, I mean, I'm always glad for another kids movie. I just feel like in a summer of kids movies, this is probably the one that's going to make the least amount of money.
The weakest.
The
Yeah.
weakest, yeah.
It comes out when? July, right?
End of July.
End of July. Well, okay. I mean, maybe Minions will. Okay, no, it won't die by then.
It's
But
not going to die by then.
at least there will be 2 of them in theaters at that time,
Right.
and then we have August. So there we go.
We could be playing Minions until Halloween some places.
Probably.
It's entirely feasible
Well, we played Scene 2 until
We still have Scene 2
Easter.
on screen.
yeah. Why
Yeah.
couldn't we play Minions until Halloween?
yeah.
These 6-month cycles.
Yeah.
Illumination, just keep doing
Just-
what you do.
You know, you get that extra longevity when you allow shows to happen. If you can keep something for a matinee, you don't have to have these clean schedules. You get to keep your film in the marketplace way longer. Like theater owners want to maximize screen show times. They don't want
We don't want to play
they don't want to just get rid of your film for no reason. They want
play
so-
Super Pets
Right.
at 8:30 at night.
Yeah. All or nothing Showtime policies suck. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it in the first, like, say 3 weeks. Like, you want to protect the bulk of the run where you're making the most money. But after that point, let it go. Let the theater owners do what they
Sing
do
it,
best
Cody.
and maximize
Sing
their
it,
show
Cody.
times.
Sing it.
Woo!
Let the reins off. Let those ponies run free.
Let it go. Let it go.
Copyright. We don't have the rights to this song. Whew.
Get me worked up on show schedules.
All right.
We love it.
Let's get Codi out of here before she says
we
something
have one
else.
more thing to talk about.
What do we have to talk about?
We just want to just mention that there's a lot in the news about the Warner Brothers Discovery merger. A lot of top level executives are getting let go.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's two corporate structures merging together.
Oh, I feel so bad for those.
I don't feel bad
executive
for them
directors.
at all. Oh, they get their like golden parachute packages and they're like, goodbye, you can go be executive somewhere else.
Their little golden gift baskets.
Yeah. But so far it hasn't affected sales teams or distribution plans moving forward. And when it does, we'll definitely like more report on that. But I don't foresee anything really changing this year until I would be shocked if they just got in there and by October or by the summer was like making huge changes.
Tore the whole thing up.
I think that plans are kind of in place and they're gonna kind of ease into it. Maybe by this fall we'll see some changes, but
they just saw how AT&T screwed this up, so
yeah,
they're
they
gonna,
should.
I would think they're going to be very careful.
Yeah.
I just hope that they're just doing what United Artists and Amazon is doing. They're having those internal debates like, are we a streamer? Are we a theatrical? What's our legacy? What's our corporate like culture and structure going to be? How are we going to do these content pipelines? Like all those questions need to be answered first. And so I'm sure it's like normal day-to-day stuff on at least on our level that we're going to see for a while.
When are you releasing Mortal Kombat 2? That's what Codi wants to know.
I'm getting ready for it. Like I'm ready for another one.
Come on, Warner Bros. Discovery.
I'm not super excited about Northman gore, but for some reason when it's in Mortal Kombat, I'm like dazzled.
It sets the stage for it. It's okay.
I'm so ready for this. Where's the popcorn?
This is cinema.
I want to eat while I watch someone's lungs get ripped out.
I need blood clouds of poofy blood clouds
of CGI.
Yeah.
Blood clouds.
Maybe like body parts dangling. It's all fine in Mortal Kombat.
But not volcanic wieners?
But any other time I'm like, oh, I don't need the violence. I'm in Mortal Kombat. I'm just weirdly programmed.
You should have just let volcanic wieners been the end of the podcast.
No, I'm not going to end on a wiener joke.
And on that note, thank you everyone for listening to the Off the Break podcast. Come on, guys, this is on brand with us.
Yes.
You can find us on all podcast platforms and be sure to like and follow our Facebook and Instagram pages at Off the Break Podcast.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.